It is at long last here. Episode 12, the finale of What If Vader and Starkiller killed Palpatine and Vader ruled the galaxy. So this is the final episode, seeing as the fact that it's called the finale. I did not think we were going to be getting here. And I'm really excited that we are, but I'm also kind of sad because, it was a really fun series to put together, but the story did have to end at some point, and what better way to end it than on an absolute bang, with all the stories coming together into one climactic showdown, with tons of action, tons of emotion, tons of character development, and a strong wrap-up to the series. So, yeah, I'm not going to keep you guys waiting. Let us begin with the finale. Get your snacks ready, and I hope you enjoy listening. We begin aboard the Rogue Shadow, where we find Galen Merrick, deep in meditation as he reminisces about everything that has happened to him. We see flashes of the day Vader arrived to Kashyyyk and killed his father, taking the young child as his apprentice. We see his brutal training with Proxy, his duels with Ram Koda, Kazdan Paratus, Shaak Ti, the battle where he and Vader faced off against the Emperor himself. We see his infiltration of Alderaan, his duel with Kenobi, his betrayal of Vader, and his meeting of the Jedi on Kashyyyk, his duel with Vader, and the funeral of the Jedi on Kashyyyk, until this moment, where we see several visions of the possible outcomes of the journey. We see one vision where Galen and Vader battle at the top of the temple, with all of Merrick's allies and Vader's stormtroopers dead around them. We see another vision where Galen is dueling against both Ahsoka and Leia, while Vader watches on. We see another future where Vader stands over Merrick and everyone else as the Empire continues their rampage on the galaxy, and another where the Empire is no more, and the Jedi celebrate the rise of peace and prosperity. Suddenly, Galen opens his eyes, as he is met by Juno Eclipse. We're about to arrive on Malachor. We cut to the Knights of Ren's ship as it jumps out of hyperspace and makes its way down to the surface of Malachor, followed by a fleet of criminal syndicate battleships. There are still a few Star Destroyers investigating the planet following Maul and Luke's escape. Maul looks at a hologram of the various ship pilots as he gives them their orders. The Imperial forces are your primary target. Destroy all of their ships and keep them occupied until we return with our prize. The criminal leaders all responded with acceptance as their ships charged towards the Star Destroyers and engaged in battle, while the Knights of Ren's ship flies down to the planet below. It flies down to the underground surface, where we see the Sith Temple up ahead, and dozens of squads of Imperial troopers of all kinds investigating the temple. The Empire is close to opening the temple. We need to distract them, Maul declares, as he lowers the ship near a small squad of stormtroopers. Maul, Luke, and Mara leap out of the ship as they make quick work of the squad, cutting each of the troopers to ribbons. Suddenly, Maul throws up his blade, deflecting a thrown crimson-bladed lightsaber that returns to the hand of the seventh sister Inquisitor, who stands next to the fifth brother. Well, well. It appears that Darth Maul still lives, and is in league with the traitorous Emperor's hand. Maul looks to Luke and Mara, who return an accepting look, as they all prepare into their respective stances. The Inquisitors look at each other as they spin their lightsabers and charge into battle against the three rogue agents of chaos. The battle is quick and violent, with waves of crimson blades twirling everywhere alongside Mara's amethyst blade. Maul takes the dominance of the battle, as he uses his Juyo onslaught to push back the two Inquisitors, while Luke and Mara act as supporting allies. The battle catches the attention of multiple squads of stormtroopers, as they unleash blaster fire at the trio. Luke and Mara break off from the duel to deflect the incoming laser fire, while Maul continues to push back the two Inquisitors. We'll box them in, Mara declares, as she moves left, while Luke moves right. They slowly but surely push the troopers back as they hack through each and every last one of them. Maul takes control of the duel as he kicks the fifth brother's knee and twists it in the process, before throwing seventh sister back with a force push. Fall back, Seventh sister shouts as she and fifth brother run away, because we aren't doing the weird lightsaber helicopter thing here. Luke and Mara initially pursue, but Maul stops them. We have a bigger mission on our hands. We must retrieve the artifact. And how exactly do we get inside the temple with all these Imperials attacking us? Mara asks. Maul points down another chasm that leads to another layer of the temple below, where Luke had initially found Maul. Down there is the secret entrance to the temple that the Empire might not yet have discovered, and I know the way inside. Then let's move in, Mara states, as the three move towards the chasm and leap down towards the secret entrance below. We cut back to the rogue Shadow as it exits hyperspace before the massive battle between the Shadow's blade and the Imperial forces in the sky. Looks like we've got some other people here, Quinlan points out. Galen looks out at the Star Destroyers as he tries to sense his former master. Vader's on his way, but he isn't here yet. Then what does the Empire want with Malachor? Ahsoka asks. Nobody's come here for centuries till now. Something tells me that those Syndicate ships are a part of this, Quinlan adds. Leia closes her eyes. She can sense the person from her visions, who we know to be her brother, and his presence is close. The one from my visions. He's here. And he's aboard the ships, or on the surface? Ahsoka asks, as she places a hand on Leia's shoulder. Leia concentrates for a long moment, as her visions lead her past the battle in the skies and down towards Malachor, beneath the surface. He's on the planet. He's heading towards a temple with two other people. Ahsoka nods as she closes her own eyes. She senses a familiar presence, one she hasn't felt in years, but she wasn't quite sure who it was. Let's get down to the surface and see what we can find there. Heading down, Juno announces. They fly down through the battle as Juno activates a cloaking device to allow the team to slip past the violent battle in the skies. Once landing on the surface, they spot another landed ship, which we know to be the Knights of Ren ship. The one from your visions is definitely here, Leia, Ahsoka states. There are several scouting parties of Imperial troopers around the temple, Galen points out. Looks like the Empire's been here for a while. The battle couldn't have been going on very long. None of the Star Destroyers or cruisers have taken any significant damage yet, Voss adds on, which means that the Empire has been here for a while. The question now is why, Galen responds. We cut back to our trio of Maul, Luke, and Mara as they scour the depths of the Sith Temple. We see a few small sections of Imperial scout troopers who are investigating different areas, and the three Force wielders cut them apart one by one. As Maul moves ahead to search for the temple's entrance, Mara moves back next to Luke. This old fool is taking us on a wild chase to nothing. When are we going to strike? Hold on just a moment. He knows the way inside the temple. We just need him to open the door, and we can get rid of him right after, Luke explains. Mara nods as she sees the wisdom in Luke's plan. Very well, we'll see this plan through. The three finally arrive at the temple's secret door as Maul turns to Luke. The key to opening the temple is for both the Sith Master and Apprentice to open the door together. Only two, no more, no less. That is the way of the Sith. Didn't the rule of two only begin during the era of Darth Bane? Mara asked. Maul nodded in agreement. You are correct. However, the earliest stages of the rule were created in ancient times, around the time this temple was created. Remember the time of both Exar Kun and Ulic Qel-Droma, or the era of Darth Revan and Darth Malak, as they ruled as two. Mara nods as she moves to the side. She looks to Luke, who gives her an approving nod before standing beside his master. We will open the door together. As you say, Master, Luke responds. They both raise out their hands, close their eyes, and concentrate on their rage. The door begins to open slowly at first, and then faster. Mara has her hand on her lightsaber hilt, as she points it at Maul's chest while he is distracted. As the door opens, Maul's senses kick in as he reaches for his lightsaber, realizing the betrayal before he finds a purple blade protruding from his stomach. He collapses to the ground as Luke and Mara walk through the doorway. You taught me well, Master, but you'll find I'm full of surprises and ambitions of my own. Your time is through. The door closes as Maul is left to die, while Luke and Mara continue on their quest to retrieve the holocron. We cut back to our Jedi team as they scour the scorched landscape where an ancient battle had once taken place. They spot one group of stormtroopers scouting around before moving in on them, disarming, and capturing them. "What is the Empire doing on Malachor?" Galen asks. The stormtrooper commander initially doesn't say anything until Galen reaches out his hand and begins to strangulate the commander with the Force. Ahsoka tries to get him to stop, but the commander cracks, which prompts Galen to release him. We were sent after the Grand Inquisitor was found here dead. He was found with injuries cauterized, meaning he was killed by lightsaber. We've been searching to discover who they were, but we discovered the temple. Emperor Vader was interested in what it could provide, but you could ask the Inquisitors about that. All Jedi turn to see Inquisitor Jarek moving towards them, alongside his 6 Dark Jedi. "Agents, let us destroy this rabble at once," Jarek orders, as he motions for the Dark Jedi to move into action. A battle ensues, as Galen faces off against Maw, Ahsoka, and Saris. Ahsoka and Quinlan face off against Gork and Pick, while Leia battles against Yun. This duel is somewhat of a brawl, as all of the Jedi work as one, working to the other's skill set and benefits. Galen senses the rage in Maw, and turns his new skill in Vapad, channeling Maw's hatred and redirecting it. It takes several tries before Galen succeeds and overpowers Maw with his own rage and defeats him. With him dead, Galen pushes the other 2 Dark Jedi back. Relishing in the battle, Ahsoka takes a reckless onslaught against Merrick, which the former apprentice of Vader uses to his advantage, and cuts down the Twi'lek before facing off against Saris alone. They stand matched for a short while before Merrick ultimately overpowers her. Ahsoka quickly dodges one of Gork's attacks and leaps over him, cutting off his left arm as Quinlan finishes the kill, and Pick is quickly finished off. Leia and Yun stand evenly matched for a long moment, both trading lightsaber strikes and physical combat mixed with Force integration, before ultimately Yun realizes that he's the only one left, and is quickly cut down by the combined might of all 4 Jedi. They all turn towards Jarek, who looks down at disappointment at his failed Dark Jedi, before raising out his hand and unleashing a blast of Force destruction that targets Quinlan Vos. The blast hits Vos, who is sent to the ground in a heap of pain, completely disabled, as Galen rushes into action, clashing blades with Jarek, while Leia and Ahsoka move over to help Vos back to his feet. Galen and Jarek trade several vicious blows before engaging in a blade lock. "Your master sends his regards," Jarek mocks. "He'll be here shortly to clean up your mess." Galen is hit with a powerful bolt of Force lightning, as Jarek takes the opportunity to retreat from the battle to rally the remaining Inquisitors. We cut to Luke and Mara, as they find themselves trapped between 2 sets of doors. One that they just opened, and another leading to the holocron. Maul said it took a master and an apprentice. "If we use our hatred, we can open the doors together," Luke suggested. Mara nods. "I will accept it, although I must make it clear that I am not your apprentice. And you aren't my new master," Luke fires back. "We're just 2 people who desire the ultimate power, and will do whatever we need in order to claim it." The 2 draw on their rage. The doors were meant to frustrate them and increase their anger and strength. One by one, the doors opened as Luke and Mara channeled their strength and power, relishing in the hateful emotions as they did it. Finally, through all the doors, they spotted the holocron across a large gap on another platform. "Now we just need to find a way to reach it." "We have the power of the Force, anything is possible," Luke boasts, as he threw out his hand and pulled the holocron across the chasm and into his palm. Mara gives an approving nod of the head. "Well done. Now we just need to get to the ship and leave this place before the Imperials bring it down with their full might." We cut to Inquisitor Jarek as he reunites with the fellow remaining Inquisitors, which are the 7th sister, the 5th brother, the 8th brother, and Intinis Tremaine. It appears our master was correct with his prediction. Starkiller and the remaining Jedi of Kashyyyk are here. Fascinating. Fifth brother and I engaged the former Emperor's hand, alongside Darth Maul and another renegade, seventh sister mentions. Jarek is shocked by this, however a plan formulates in his mind. Very well. We shall allow them to battle each other, and we will strike before they can recover. We cut back to our Jedi group as Ahsoka and Leia help Quinlan back to his feet as he slowly recovers from the blast of Force destruction. What kind of attack was that? Voss asks as he catches his breath. It's called Force destruction. It's a power that was developed by High Inquisitor Jarek to immobilize targets outright, Galen explains. Vader isn't here yet, but if we reach the top of the temple, we can ambush him. What about the Inquisitors? Ahsoka asks. Galen shrugs in response. If they return, we'll fight them off as we continue. As the team begins to make their way to the temple, Ahsoka senses someone in the Force. It's a faint presence, but one that is fighting to survive. She turns to see Maul, who is pulling himself up a pillar onto their level, before collapsing to the ground in exhaustion and pain. Maul? Ahsoka asks, as she moves over to the wounded Zabrak. Maul recognizes Ahsoka, and while he wants to fight, he ultimately decides against it. Lady Tano, what happened to you? Maul grimaces as he pulls himself up. My apprentice and that Imperial agent betrayed me. Nevertheless, I have been cut in half, so a stab to the stomach means nothing. But the betrayal leaves me outraged. So you're already through with turning me? Ahsoka teases, although Maul's expression turns to pure rage. So who's your apprentice? His name is Luke Skywalker, Maul says. The name catches Ahsoka off guard, as Leia moves over to them, also hearing the name. My apprentice has been having visions of him. We went to Kenobi's hut. There was a box that said it was for Luke. It contained my father's lightsaber, Leia reminded Ahsoka. Maul takes intrigue to that as he realizes who Ahsoka's apprentice is. How ironic that the outcasts of our orders are entrusted with the next generation of Skywalkers. What do you want, Maul? Ahsoka asks. Maul forces himself to his feet, grimacing in pain as he does so. I want to claim the knowledge I came here seeking, and revenge on my former apprentice. Leia looks a little concerned about that. She isn't entirely sure about letting her brother get killed, even if he's on the dark side. Perhaps there's a chance to save him just like her father. Very well. You can join us, but if you try anything, we will stop you, Ahsoka responds. The three move over to meet up with Galen and Quinlan. Both are shocked to see the old Phantom Menace. Galen knowing him from his training module with Proxy, and Quinlan remembering his presence on Tatooine, and his regret of not helping his old friend Qui-Gon Jinn battle him on the planet. Is that really him? Darth Maul? Formerly Darth. Now just Maul. Maul explains. I rejected the Sith Order long ago. I work for myself now. You've been stabbed. What happened to you? Galen asks. Maul looks angered, but ultimately calms himself. My apprentice betrayed me and left me for dead here. He's after an ancient holocron I was hoping to claim. A holocron? I thought the Empire was here investigating the death of their Inquisitor, Ahsoka chimes in. Yes, that Inquisitor, his forces, chased me off this world after I killed him while searching for the holocron. Suddenly, the doors to the temple begin to open, as all five figures turn to see Luke and Mara exiting the temple with the holocron. Leia instantly recognizes Luke from her visions, and Maul, who is still fueled by rage, ignites his lightsaber and limps over to his former treacherous apprentice. Luke and Leia stare each other down before Luke speaks. I felt your presence. I've seen you in visions, yet we've never met. Then you don't know the truth. We're siblings, Luke. We were separated at birth, but the Force drew us together through destiny. Luke initially doesn't believe this, but his instincts and his feelings tell him that it's true. They are siblings, each representing the other's equal in the other half of the Force's strength. So you mean to tell me that our parents left me to rot on a desert planet for all those years, while you got to become a Jedi and get all that power for yourself. No, I only began training several months ago. I lived on Alderaan before that. Luke snarls. So you still got the royal power of Alderaan while I was cast away. No, that's not true, Leia tried to reason. However, Luke refused to listen. You know who our father is, the Emperor himself. Together we can find him and save him from this terror and become a family as one. Luke looks surprised to hear that his father is Darth Vader, but a gleeful smile forms upon his face. You mean our father is not only the most powerful being in the galaxy, but a Sith Lord as well? I can confront him and pledge my allegiance as his apprentice, and have all that power for myself by his side until I betray him. No, that's not what I mean. Before Leia can finish, Luke ignites his lightsaber and swings at her before handing Mara the holocron. Of course, I must prove myself to him by destroying his greatest potential threat. He swings his lightsaber at Leia several times as she dodges before she finally ignites her father's blue blade and defends against her brother's vicious attacks. Maul attempts to rush his former apprentice, but is stopped by Mara, who unleashes several attacks with her purple blade. Mara continues to push Maul back as Ahsoka moves in to assist the wounded Zabrak and engages the Emperor's hand as well. Galen and Quinlan move in to assist as well, but are cut off by the arrival of the 7th sister, 5th brother, 8th brother, with Jarek and Tremaine slowly moving in themselves. The battle is huge, with all sides meeting the other with everything they've got. Brother and sister wage a titanic duel, both the other's opposite, yet equal in all ways, both fighting for themselves as well as their father. Luke to join his side, while Leia to save both him and her brother. All the lessons they have learned from their respective masters come to fruition here, as Leia meets Luke's sporadic and sadistic Juyo assault with her own Ataru. Maul and Mara, both assassins to Darth Sidious, battle each other with Ahsoka as well. All three outcast their respective orders they once followed so dearly, only to be betrayed and walk away now just fighting to survive. Mara fights to escape with Luke and claim power, while Ahsoka fights with the purpose of moving on and confronting her former master, hoping to save him from his own mental prison, while Maul fights to live on just one more day. Galen, Voss, and the Inquisitors battle in the name of vengeance. For the Inquisitors, Starkiller is the apprentice to the Emperor that they looked up to, one who betrayed everything they stood for after so much brutal torment and darkness they all endured within their training, a disgrace to all the power they possessed. For Galen and Quinlan, these Inquisitors were there on Kashyyyk, caused so much death and destruction, and even cost Voss his entire family. The battle shifts in the Jedi's favor, as Merrick and Voss begin to overpower the weaker Inquisitors and cut them down one by one. Suddenly, Galen feels a shift in the Force, and turns to Quinlan. Vader, he's here. Leia senses her father's arrival as well. She still finds herself trapped in an intense battle with her brother, with no clear winner in sight. She locks her blade with his, and tries to reason with Luke. This darkness is no life for you, or Vader. Come with me, and I can save you. Save me? Luke asks, almost offended by the statement. Sister, you don't understand. I don't want to be saved. This power, this strength is everything. I love the darkness. I wouldn't give it up just for some family. Luke presses the attack as he pushes Leia back with a Juyo onslaught. Galen can sense Vader at the top of the temple. As he breaks off the battle, I have to go and face him, he tells Voss, who nods in acceptance. We can handle things down here. Go and avenge the fallen. Galen rushes up to the stairs and onto the elevator. When it doesn't activate, he channels his rage and leaps up to the next level. As he reaches the top, Vader is here, standing in the central chamber as Merrick enters. Everything is quiet, except for Vader's iconic breathing, which echoes throughout the room. Galen and Vader stare each other down, with the Emperor's TIE Advanced parked right next to him. Nowhere to run now, Master, Galen calls out. Vader shakes his head. I have no intention of running. The two pace around each other, ready for the other to make the first move. I've been waiting to finish this once and for all, Galen growls. Vader remains calm and in control. You were the strongest of my apprentices. You served me well, but ultimately you were not ready for the power I gave you so early. You were weak. But you gave me a new form of strength in my new apprentice. A new apprentice already. Not ready to face me yourself? Galen taunts. Vader shakes his head. No, but ready to test my new apprentice against his host. Before Galen can question what that even means, he is shocked to see a clone of him walk out of the TIE interceptor from behind Vader. How did you even do this? Your blood was collected after all the brutal training sessions. In the event, you tried to betray me. Memory flashes of our training were used to quicken his skills, and he knows all your skills and power. Vader turns to the Starkiller clone. Fulfill your destiny and destroy your host. Yes, my master. The clone responds, as he quickly ignites two crimson-bladed lightsabers and charges Merrick with a barrage of quick and aggressive strikes. Galen fends them off, still confused and caught off guard by what is happening, while Vader simply watches on. We cut to down below, where the large battle is still taking place. Ahsoka can sense her master, and knows that Galen has gone to face him. She turns to Leia, who is still dueling her brother. We need to get to Vader now. Leia quickly blocks one of Luke's incoming blows before redirecting the attack aside and pushing him away with the Force. We can't get past this battle. With the other Inquisitors now dead, Jarek and Tremaine leap into action, as Jarek battles Quinlan, while Ahsoka turns her attention to Tremaine, leaving Maul to battle Mara alone. Quinlan hears the conversation between Leia and Ahsoka, as he uses the Force to push Tremaine away, and turns to Ahsoka. Go, you and Leia find Vader. Ahsoka nods as she turns to Leia for her to follow her. Leia nods as she leaps over Luke towards the elevator, before she finds herself yanked back towards Luke by an invisible grip from her dark brother. Go and find him, I'll be there shortly. Ahsoka nods as she uses her strength to leap up to the top of the elevator, while Leia returns to her battle with Luke. We return to just outside the temple, where Galen and the Starkiller clone are fighting a brutal battle. Galen is still dazed by all the confusion and shock at the fact that he's fighting himself, but he still keeps himself in the fight, as the clone unleashes waves of power and skill. They trade vicious lightsaber strikes, coupled with Force lightning and telekinesis and physical combat integrated into their styles. It's like Galen is battling himself in a mirror. What he could have still remained had the Jedi not shown him the proper way. We cut back to Vader, as he watches the battle from a distance, before he's caught off guard by a familiar voice calling out to him. Anakin! He turns to see Ahsoka, standing behind him. You are mistaken. Anakin Skywalker is dead. I destroyed him. No, that is only the sick lie you convince yourself with. Darth Sidious lied to you. Told you that you had nothing left but the dark side, but it's not true. You don't know the power of the dark side, Vader counters. Ahsoka shakes her head defiantly. I know that you only lost everything once you embraced the dark side. Padme, Obi-Wan, your children, all lost to the moment you turned down this path. Sidious used you as a pawn and tricked you into believing Padme was dying. And the Jedi betrayed me. They're no better than the Sith, Vader argues. Maybe so, and I can understand your viewpoint. But this isn't about the Jedi or the Sith. It's about you. Do you want to waste your life as a dark monster or suffering? Or do you want to be Anakin Skywalker, who you are meant to be? There's a long pause as Vader calculates Ahsoka's words. Finally, he speaks up, and his tone is neither hateful nor apologetic. It's just pain. I have nothing left. This is all that remains. Is that the lie you tell yourself? Ahsoka asks. You have so much to live for, Anakin. Like you? Vader asks bitterly, as Ahsoka looks down. I looked out for you, protected you like you are a sister during that war, and you threw me aside like I meant nothing to you. You abandoned me. We can see the part of Anakin coming out of Vader as he unleashes his inner demons. He's no longer hiding who he once was, but is instead releasing himself through Vader. Ahsoka sighs, and even tears up with guilt before Vader ignites his lightsaber and prepares in his iconic stance. Time to end this. Ahsoka looks at her former master defiantly, as she ignites her 2 white-bladed lightsabers and defends against the attacks. We cut back to the battle below, where Leia and Quinlan and Maul face off against Luke, Mara, Jarek, and Tremaine. We see Quinlan hit Tremaine with Force lightning before cutting him in half, before focusing his attention to Jarek, who is far stronger than any of the other Inquisitors. Maul is beginning to tire out from his wounds as Mara presses an advantage, while Luke and Leia fight as equals. Leia knows she needs to confront her father, but she can't shake her brother. Maul sees this and realizes that it is near the end for him. He waits for Luke to make an opening in his moveset as the 2 siblings engage in a blade lock. To think they gave you all the power in the family, Luke snarls. I'm the one who got the rightful strength in the Force. You are too soft, too arrogant, too weak. Suddenly, Luke feels a burning feeling that comes from his stomach, as he sees a crimson blade protruding from his stomach, as he sees his former master looking him in the eyes. Maul nods to Leia for her to go and make it to the top, as he rips his blade out of Luke's stomach and moves to face both him and Mara, while Leia rushes to the elevator, where Maul uses the last of his strength to push her to the top. If he was going to die, at least it would be with both revenge and purpose, he thought, as he felt both Mara and Luke's blade cutting through him before everything went dark. We need to get out of here, Mara shouts as she helps Luke to his feet. Luke did want to find his father, but now with his injuries, they convinced him otherwise. We'll regroup with your knights on Nar Shaddaa along with the fleet. They moved to their ship, evading the battle before flying away out of the temple and towards the battle in the sky. Fleet, we're departing, Luke orders to the holograms of the ship commanders. What happened to Lord Maul? He was eliminated by Imperial forces, Luke bluffs. I am your new master now. We cut back to Quinlan and Jarek as they stand as the last 2 in the battle below. Below the temple. Jarek is quite a step above Voss in power, but the Kifar Jedi Master is holding his ground, using Vapad to redirect any of Jarek's anger against him. He knows he can't win this battle, and still stand, but he has an idea. He presses the attack as Jarek retaliates with Force destruction. Rather than use the last of his strength to deflect the attack the best he can, he calls towards one of the fallen Inquisitor's lightsabers, pulling it towards them both. Jarek blasts Quinlan with Force destruction, leaving him immobilized, before he feels a blade thrusting into his chest. As he falls, he thrusts his own blade into Quinlan's heart, as they both drop dead next to each other, with Voss muttering his last words. For Colleen. For Corto. We cut back to Galen and his clone, still battling a titanic duel, and one of the most vicious duels Galen has ever fought, maybe second only to the one he's fought against Vader on Kashyyyk. Suddenly, an idea pops into his mind. Vader had spoken of using memory flashes for the clone's training. Perhaps Galen could show his clone everything that had happened and convince him to turn against Vader. Starkiller clone was fast and highly aggressive, and Galen struggled to reach out to him. But he dug deep, channeling his power and unleashing an incredible force repulse that sent the clone flying back. Without a moment of hesitation, Merrick rushed over to the Starkiller clone and placed his hand on his forehead, channeling his memories over to the clone. Starkiller saw his host meeting his father, getting a second chance with the Jedi, before Vader burned down the planet. He saw Merrick's duel with Vader, and everything leading up to this moment before Galen released him. The clone looked at Galen for a long moment before snapping out of it and leaping off to the side of the temple, before running away towards one of the Inquisitor's TIE fighters and taking off. We cut to Leia as she enters the temple chamber to find Vader attacking Ahsoka, who is clearly out of her league in this battle. Before Vader can deliver the killing blow to his former apprentice, he is stopped by Leia, who blocks the attack with his old lightsaber. "Father, stop!" Vader is caught off guard by her statement, as Leia stands down her father. "Yes, you are my father, Anakin. Search your feelings, it's true." Vader can sense that this girl is telling the truth, yet he still can't believe it. "You are my father, and Senator Padme Amidala is my mother." There is a long silence, as Leia tries to find other ways to reach her father. She drops his old lightsaber towards his feet. "This belongs to you. It's the weapon you used to protect so many thousands of lives with, protected my mother with, and you threw it all away for what? Ask yourself, Anakin, what would my mother think of you now? What would your mother, Shmi, think? Would this be what they wanted for you? My mother didn't love you for your power. She loved you for who you were. The man who would bend over backwards to help the ones he cared about, who risked his life every day to make the galaxy a better place and protect the Republic he loved so dearly. Those gifts were corrupted by Sidious, but he is now dead. You're free." Vader is silent besides his breathing, as we are taken within his head, where we see the illusionary image of Anakin staring off against Sidious. His eyes flickered between a fiery yellow and a somber blue. Sidious cackles as he blasts Anakin with force lightning. "Young fool, you will not break under the words of your weak daughter. You are stronger than this. You are Lord Vader." "Please, Father, I need you," we hear Leia say from the outside world, as Anakin slowly rises to his feet. "Your daughter needs her father. I need my master," Ahsoka calls out. We hear flashbacks to Mustafar, where we hear Padme's voice. "Come away with me. Help me raise our child. Leave everything else behind while we still can." We hear Obi-Wan crying out from the lava banks. "You are my brother, Anakin. I loved you." We hear his final words from Alderaan. "I will always be with you, Anakin. You will always be my brother." With each memory and each word spoken to him, Anakin rises more and more, resisting the mental prison he has trapped himself in for so many years, as he raises out his hand to intercept Sidious's lightning. We see the illusionary images of Leia, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan all giving him the strength to push back the illusion of Sidious from the outside world, as Sidious shrieks in pain before he is destroyed, leaving Anakin free of the darkness that haunted him for so long. We cut to the outside world, where Leia and Ahsoka look on as Vader is silent, before he finally speaks. "I'm sorry," he mutters. His anger and hatred is gone, replaced with sorrow and relief. "I'm sorry, daughter. I'm sorry, Ahsoka." They both nod in acceptance. "It's okay. You're free now." Vader removes his helmet, as he shows his daughter his face for the first time. We see it is still pale and burned from Mustafar, but the hatred has left his eyes, replaced by love and apology. Darth Vader is now dead, and Anakin has risen once again. He moves closer to his daughter and impulsively embraces her in a hug, as the two unite for the first time in their lives, having each other. Galen enters the chamber with his lightsaber ready to finish Vader, before he stops and sees the reunion. Anakin looks to see Galen with a shameful expression on his face. "Galen, I'm so sorry about everything I ever did to you." "You don't get to be sorry," Galen hisses back. Anakin nods in agreement. "You're right. I don't deserve your forgiveness. All I wanted to say is that I used you while I was corrupted. I hurt you. and I took everything from you, and all I can do is apologize. If I could reverse the pain, I would." There is a long silence as Galen embraces this side to his master that he has never seen before in his life. He tries to sense Vader's emotions, and they are sincere. Galen can feel the amount of loss he has endured, and the sorrow he feels for his actions. Hesitantly, Galen deactivates his lightsaber, seeing how much Anakin means to his daughter, and knowing a fraction of the pain his master shares with him. I forgive you," he finally says, and Anakin gives a thankful nod of the head. As the four share the moment, their senses are all called to the skies. The Death Star floats above the planet, ready to obliterate everything. "Juno, we need to pick up," Galen orders, as Anakin gets in his old tie. "If anyone needs to get out of here, you can join me." Galen declines, but Leia ultimately accepts. The rogue shadow flies down towards the temple, as Galen and Ahsoka board, and the two ships fly past the Star Destroyers and the fleet. We cut to Thrawn as he looks down at the planet and says one word: fire. The Death Star unleashes its full power and destroys the entire planet as the rogue shadow and Vader's tie jump to hyperspace. Thrawn looks to his Imperial officers as the Death Star unleashes its super laser, obliterating the entire planet. Emperor Vader was a traitor. He used the Emperor and Tarkin to make himself look stronger than he really was. Now we have dealt with him. Long live the new Empire. We cut to a time skip of 2 years in the future. We see Leia on Kashyyyk wearing the full garb of Jedi robes, and now carries her own lightsaber hilt instead of her father's. She is standing before a new Jedi temple that is being built on the planet to pay tribute to everything that has happened here. We see several new Jedi faces, as well as some familiar ones, including Caleb Dume, Ezra Bridger, Das Janier, and Cal Kestis. The Empire still reigns, with Thrawn as the new Emperor, while the Jedi rebuild. Bail Organa and Mon Mothma have begun to create the rebellion, which now fights in a brutal galactic civil war against Thrawn and his empire. And while it is brutal, it brings hope to so many more people. We see Dash Rendar approach Leia as she turns. "So, I talked to my guy, and it looks like we've got another smuggler for you in the works." "Let's just hope this one works out. Smuggling Jedi from planet to planet isn't easy," Leia responds. Dash shrugs. "Well, he is pretty good." He turns as we see Han Solo and Chewbacca enter. He and Leia shake hands as Han gives a cheeky wink. Ahsoka then enters, wearing Jedi robes and now fully acting as a Jedi, teaching the new generation the ways of the new Jedi, one that defeats the dogma of the prequel order. "Any word from Galen on his search?" Leia asks. Ahsoka shakes her head. "He's still chasing after that clone. I hope he finds him quick." Leia nods. "He will." "Any word from my father on his search?" Ahsoka shakes her head again. "Not yet, but I trust that he'll find your brother." "Let's hope so. He's out there somewhere, and he needs our help." We cut to Anakin, who wears a much different life support suit, which doesn't share nearly any similarities to the one of Darth Vader, being more light-sided in nature. Many of his injuries have been healed by the sustained use of the light side of the Force. He's climbing up a large mountain on a remote island in the far reaches of the galaxy, searching for his long-lost son, hoping to bring him home once and for all. He sees several buildings, several crashed ships as he roams the planet. He reaches the top of the mountain, where we see two dark-clad figures, who both turn around sensing his presence. It's Luke and Mara, as they turn and see Anakin standing behind them. Mara initially moves in to attack, but Luke stops her, as Anakin holds out a hand to them both, asking them to come with him. Everything is silent, as the three stare each other down, until Anakin finally speaks. "Son, will you join me?" And that is where this series ends. And thus the series is done. 12 episodes, 12 some long, some short episodes, one big story, all wrapped up. And the ending is left open up for potential future stories, if you guys would be interested in that. I cannot thank everyone enough for the support on this series. Seriously, when I released the first episode, I genuinely didn't think I was going to be making an episode 2. I just did it for fun because a lot of people were getting into What If series, and I didn't want to do something really, basic and really obvious, like, what if Qui-Gon trained Anakin, or what if Anakin didn't turn to the dark side? I didn't want to do something really basic. I actually wanted to try a What If series based off the expanded universe, because nobody's done that yet. And so this one came to mind, but I seriously did not think I was going to be making an episode 2. I didn't think any of you guys would be interested. And here we are with a finale. So, of a 12-part series. So, I can't thank everyone enough for the support, and I hope this finale lived up to all expectations. Very action-heavy. There were those character moments, and, sprinkled in there. And while I would say a lot of this story does have a closed ending, a lot of stories were wrapped up, a lot of them were left open. I mean, what's going to happen when Anakin meets Luke and Mara? What's Thrawn going to do as the Emperor? I mean, there is still the possibility that this story could be continued. Who knows? If you guys were interested, maybe we could do like a sequel era, or another series as like a sequel to this, with like a new Jedi Order, kind of like 30 years in the future, something like that. But that's up to you guys, unless you would just prefer this ending. So, yeah, leave your comments down below. Not only tell me how you thought about the finale, but how did you feel about this series as a whole? Was this series a good idea? Was it a bad idea? Would you like to see more of this story? Would you like to see another story be told? Like, what other what-if scenarios would you like to see? I've had some KOTOR ideas for KOTOR what-ifs, but that's up to you guys. And yeah, I guess that's really it. So, this is Demon360, signing off. Thank you all for the support on this series, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.